And welcome into the D Event Center for High School Rewind's coverage of the 2015 5A Boys State Championship Basketball Tournament, brought to you on live.ksl.com, desnews.com, and anytime on Xfinity On Demand. I am Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us. Our matchup, the reigning champion Lone Peak Knights and the Copper Hills Grizzlies. Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you along with us. An interesting matchup, 1 versus 4 with Lone Peak and Copper Hills. A couple reasons why. Copper Hills came off a big win against Bingham, who's the #1 seed in this tournament, and Lone Peak is coming off 2 consecutive losses, the first time since 2009-2010 when they last lost back-to-back games, or any 2 games within the state of Utah for that matter. So a couple of things to keep in mind in the back of your head tonight. Number 1, it's Preston Sanchez and also Mr. Hawkins down in the middle for the Copper Hills Grizzlies. Those are 2 matchups that probably go very well for Copper Hills. When you look at Lone Peak, it's all about Frank Jackson. As he goes, Lone Peak goes. If he struggles from the field, Lone Peak will struggle a little bit. Christian Papula is just a sophomore, still learning how to do things at Lone Peak. And he can hit or miss, but he is a good slasher. He goes to the line. He shoots the free throws very well. But Frank Jackson is the absolute key for Coach Quincy Lewis and the Knights as they look to get to 5 straight 5A state championships. So you know our teams and a couple players to look out for. When we come back, it'll be opening tip-off. You are watching High School Rewind only on Xfinity On Demand. And welcome back in as we're about set for the opening tip-off. Frank Jackson will jump it up against Hawkins. And many are sleeping on this game. I tend to think this will be a closer game than expected. Opening tip control by Nick Curtis and the Lone Peak Knights. Frank Jackson give it up to Curtis. Curtis reverse out, hand off Christian Papula. Papula will pull up, can't get it. It goes out of bounds. We'll go with Copper Hills. Up the floor now with the Copper Hills Grizzlies. Preston Sanchez and company. Outside Sanchez now to Stockton Shorts. Back to Sanchez. Try to go in the corner. Slapped away by Heaton. Tracked down by Sanchez. Back in the corner. 3 on the way from Charlie Olson. Off the mark, and Papula tracks down the board. And we'll go back down the floor with Frank Jackson and Lone Peak. Jackson swatted out of bounds. Bailey Brooks comes over and gets him. And we'll stay here with Lone Peak. Doman gets it into Heaton. Heaton up top of Frank Jackson. Jackson, jump it up, too strong, rebound to Curtis. Reverses side and scores. And Curtis with the first bucket of the ball game. We mentioned we had the Lone Peak game just Tuesday night. And it was an interesting one. Here's Hawkins, and Hawkins lays it up and in. Porter Hawkins, he is the mismatch tonight for Copper Hills. And we've said that before in games with big men. And you got to believe that Copper Hills understands that. And the offense does go through Hawkins very well. But also Preston Sanchez and Stockton Shorts, who's just a sophomore. It's a lot to expect of a sophomore in a game like this. Leave it back for Papula. Papula in the lane, pull up Jay. Goes in and out and back down. Christian Papula. It's a good sign for Coach Quincy Lewis. Papula gets going early. 4-2, the early lead for Lone Peak. Stockton Shorts. Cross court to Preston Sanchez. Sanchez in the lane, loses the handle. We're going to have a foul against Copper Hills, and we'll stay here. No foul, just kick. We'll stay with Copper Hills. Inbound to Brooks, Bailey Brooks. He puts it in. Ties us up at 4. Here's Preston Curtis, or pardon me, Nick Curtis. Curtis has that one knocked out of his hands, and we'll stay with Lone Peak. Jackson to inbound. Gets it into Doman. Doman holding, gives it up. Frank Jackson pulls for 3. And Frank Jackson, his first bucket is a triple. And a welcome sign to Lone Peak. A tough shooting night on Tuesday. But good to get out on the front of it today. Jump ball, and we will stay with Copper Hills. Here's Sanchez. Course to Hawkins. Hawkins powers his way in, off the glass and good. He's a very skilled big man with a soft touch. He's also a very good free throw shooter. Well, it makes this a tough matchup for Lone Peak in the first round. Frank Jackson down the lane. Thought he got fouled, no call. And it'll be on the floor. And it'll be a foul against Copper Hills. Doman inbounds to Jackson for three. Frank Jackson rattles home the triple. His first 2 buckets are threes, setting the tone. It's now a 10-6 lead for Lone Peak. Stockton shorts. Cross court to Preston Sanchez. Sanchez to Brooks. And he can't get it to go, and the rebound to Curtis, quickly ahead. Here's Papula. Papula handed by Stockton shorts. Jumper from Papula is good. And Papula hits his first 2 attempts, and it's now 12-6 in favor of Lone Peak. Cookie down the floor for Copper Hills. Bailey Brooks now in the corner to Shorts. Stockton shorts in the lane, can't get it to go. Tips it back up, can't get it. Rebound now taken by Frank Jackson. Jackson, and we're gonna have a foul on the drive. That might just be a kick ball, but we're gonna have a foul. That'll go against Bailey Brooks.
Foul called on number 3, Bailey Brooks.
Inbound into Christian Papula. Inside Frank Jackson. Now Curtis pulls and hits. Timeout, Copper Hills. If there's any thoughts, there would be a lull coming into the state tournament. Lone Peak moving that aside. They now lead 15-6 with 3:57 remaining in the first. It's out of the timeout, up the floor with Copper Hills. Sanchez, give it up to Hawkins. Hawkins with jumper from the free throw line, leaves it short. He needs to go finish that inside. Moving on the floor now with Papula. Papula has that one slapped away by Sanchez, and Sanchez will be called to the foul. It'll be a 2-shot foul for Christian Papula. First free throw good from Papula. The second one goes in and out and stays out. Papula now with 5 points. 16-6 the lead for Lone Peak. Copper Hills have to find some offense. Hawkins. Series of moves. Trevor Hoffman, nobody home. Picked up by Frank Jackson. Got a chance for a little bit of showtime from Jackson. He lays it up and in. And came up a little gingerly. Those are scary moments. He came down a little awkward there. Had defender right on him. Kick out to Stockton shorts. Got caught. Nice dribble. Sanchez rather steps inside the arc and buries a long range 2. And a welcome sign for the Grizzlies. Jackson. And then we get Jackson with an offensive foul. That's a tough call on Frank Jackson. And we're going to go the other way with Copper Hills. That is a tough call on Frank Jackson. The floor with Copper Hills. Sanchez gives it up Hawkins, and now Sanchez going to be called for the offensive foul as Doman was waiting for him after the pass. Go back to Lone Peak. Up the floor now with Jackson. Lone Peak with a 10-point lead. Into the corner, Doman along the baseline. Try to leave it, does to Curtis. Curtis power dribble, goes up and scores. Nick Curtis gets all the little dirty work buckets. Stuff that Frampton had done last year. Just a different mold. 3 on the way, off the mark, and now a foul on the board. And we'll see who this goes against. Bruni checks in with Talmadge Gunther for Lone Peak. Frank Jackson takes his seat. You want to pick up that second foul here late in the first as Charlie Olson knocks down the 3.
2 minutes in the quarter.
Cuts the lead down to 9. Papula backs things out. Minute 40 now remaining. Doman to Bruni. Hawkins all over him. Kicks out to Papula. Papula was wanting a screen, didn't get it. Doman, now Curtis. Curtis working on Stockton shorts. Curtis pull up, no. And the rebound grab by Talmadge Gunther. Here's Papula. Down the lane, floated up, no. We have a foul on the floor. And the foul will go against Sanchez, his second. 1:21 remaining in the opening quarter. Oh, nice find into Preston Curtis, or pardon me, Nick Curtis. And Nick Curtis lays it up and in. Into the corner, Olsen. Drive the base, had it slapped out of his hands. They're going to save it off his leg. And we'll go back to Lone Peak. I was interested to see how Lone Peak was going to respond the last 2 games of the season, dropping into Pleasant Grove and then to Riverton, as the state in the 5A ranks probably smell a little blood in the water. But Lone Peak has really responded well here to start this ball game. Bruni stripped by Olsen, out of bounds off of Copper Hills, and will stay here. Papula triggers in to Bruni, and now Doman. Doman down the lane, and they're going to get him with a charge. Bailey Brooks was standing there waiting for him and got it. We'll go the other way. Quickly up the floor. Outside to Hoffman. Leaves it to Hawkins, and Hawkins off the window and good. Hawkins now with 6 first quarter points. Back down the floor with Papula. Frampton, if he wanted to walk, he didn't walk. Papula, fall away, yes. Christian Papula. Clean on the floor. Hoffman to the rack. No call on the contact, no blocker charge. Out of bounds. And that'll do it for the first. At the end of 1, Lone Peak looking impressive. They lead 24-13 over Copper Hills. Start of the second quarter. Here's Frank Jackson. Had a strong first quarter. Drops it off to Gunther in the corner. Up top now with Papula. Jackson hounded by Bailey Brooks. And now a foul. Jackson will go to the line to shoot 2. Hit the first and the second. Sanchez had to sit with some foul trouble. Back in the ball game. Across to Bailey Brooks. Brooks now into Hawkins. Hawkins pirouetted in the lane. Series of moves, jumps it up and scores it. Porter Hawkins has got to be the focal point of the offense. As Lone Peak just does not have an answer for what Hawkins can do. And here's Jackson down the lane. Jackson a wrap around and got it to go. Frank Jackson finishing like only Frank Jackson can in the state of Utah. Beautiful take and finish. Now inside Hawkins. And a big fella now enters double digits.
With an assist from Sanchez.
And no from Papula. Charlie Olsen on the push. Olsen leaves it for Stockton Shorts. Shorts terminates, kicks out to Sanchez. Sanchez in the corner to Bailey Brooks. Now inside Hawkins. And Hawkins, oh, I thought that was going to crawl off. Hawkins with the bunny. And now 12 points. Papula across to Talmadge Gunther. Here's Bruni working on Hawkins. Fall away, Jay, no. And a rebound to Stockton Shorts. Shorts give it up to Charlie Olsen. Olsen pulls for 3. Off the mark. And a rebound to Curtis. Hand off Talmadge Gunther, and it gives it back to Frank Jackson. Jackson walking into the front court with a 9-point lead. And a jumper from Jackson. Another 3-pointer from Frank Jackson, his 3rd in the first half. And it's now a 12-point lead for Lone Peak. Those of you who are joining us, be sure to follow us on HS Rewind. We'll be tweeting out our top 5 plays. That 3-pointer is off the mark. Looking down the floor, Christian Papula, and that rolls off. Rebound taken by Shorts. Shorts on the push. Shorts. Dribble drive all the way to the lane, can't finish. Rebound to Hawkins. Hawkins back up with it, too strong. Rebound still loose. Charlie Olsen loses the handle into the hands of Bruni. He hands off to Frank Jackson, and Jackson will walk it back up for the Knights. Jackson with 15 in the first half. Jumper from Curtis, and Curtis knocks down the 3 ball. Straight away, timeout, Copper Hills. Oh no, we had a foul on the board. I apologize. Jackson at the front end of 1-on-1. The second one lips out. And it's a 16-point lead. Up the floor with Sanchez. Sanchez high post to Hawkins. Hawkins kicks out to Hoffman. Back to Sanchez for 3. And that's off the mark. Rebound taken by Frank Jackson. Jackson on the push. Oh, nice find to Curtis. And Curtis lays it up and in.
Curtis with an assist from Jackson.
9 points for Curtis. And Sanchez. And they're inbound along the baseline. Hoffman to trigger. Gets it in, but it was knocked out of bounds by Curtis. And inbound again. The jumper from Shorts won't go. And Gunther with the board. So up the floor we go once again with Frank Jackson. He's got 16 points. 3 players on the board right now for Lone Peak. Is Papula's jumper is way too strong. And we go the other way. Down the floor. Here's Hoffman in the lane. Hoffman was expecting someone to come. He was expecting a little bit of resistance. Nobody came, and he left it too strong. 18-point lead for Lone Peak. Here's Heaton. Heaton inside out Papula. Papula working on the dribble drive. Let the left hand and good. Nice take and finish for Christian Papula. He's now got 9. And it's a 20-point lead for Lone Peak. For those who thought that the Lone Peak came in wounded in the state tournament, they're trying to remove any doubt of that. As Hawkins' jumper along the baseline is good. And timeout taken by Copper Hills with 3:19 remaining in the second quarter. Lone Peak 39, Copper Hills 21. So out of the timeout, down the floor with Frank Jackson and the Knights. Jackson off the screen of Heaton. Goes back to Heaton. Heaton down the lane, left hand off the window and good.
Heaton for 2.
41-21 Lone Peak. Here's Hoffman. Hoffman up top with Shorts. Now inside Hawkins. Hawkins lays it up and in.
Hawkins with the basket.
Porter Hawkins should end this game with 30 points. And that's not an exaggeration. He's 14 right now. Every possession goes through Hawkins. He is the true mismatch on the floor. Step back. Oh, Frank Jackson, that's nasty. Step back 3. Jackson hits the deck. And Jackson now with 19 points in the first half. Charlie Olsen in the corner. Olsen drives slapped away by Talmadge Gunther. Heaton hands off to Jackson into the front court. Jackson out to Curtis for 3. Curtis once again from downtown. We have done a lot of Lone Peak games. I have not seen Nick Curtis hit this many threes. Now, granted, it's only 2. That hasn't hit 2 in one game this season. Stockton Shorts up top with Hoffman. Hoffman outside to Shorts for 3. And that goes off. Hawkins with the board, back up and in.
Hawkins with a rebound and a putback.
47-25, Lone Peak. Papula give it up to Gunther. And we're gonna have a foul away from the ball. And that'll go against Curtis.
Frank Jackson will pick
No,
up
Frank
his
Jackson.
second personal.
Fouls on Jackson. That is his second personal foul. Didn't see where that happened. But Jackson now leaves the floor. 1:20 remaining in the first half. Shorts cross court to Hoffman. Hoffman terminates and kicks it now in to Hawkins. Hawkins working on Curtis. Nice moves and reverses and scores. Porter Hawkins is scoring at will. $18 points. Papula over to Gunther. Inside of a minute, down to 55 seconds. Gunther up top with Heaton. Straightaway three, and Dylan Heaton from downtown. He's taken 2 shots. He's made them both. He's got 5 points. Shorts cross to Hoffman. Hoffman going to drive the lane, goes right at Curtis. No call on the contact. Papula with the board on the run. And he pulls out with 30 seconds. Looking for the final shot of the first half. Shorts out the pressure. Down to 15 seconds. Shorts and Hoffman switch off, 10 seconds. Nice move by Papula. Down the lane, left hand, can't get the finish. Rebound to Hawkins, he lets it out. Gunther, this will count if it goes, and it doesn't. It was that kind of half for Lone Peak had it gone, but at the end of 2 quarters, Lone Peak all over Copper Hills, 50-27 at the half.
High School Rewind is excited to have Nudge as our Player of the Game sponsor. Nudge is one of the fastest growing companies in Utah Valley. With over 500 employees, Nudge is one of the largest contributors of volunteer community outreach programs. To learn more about Nudge and their program, visit www.nudge.com.
We are ready for second half action. 23-point lead for Lone Peak. Copper Hills will have the opening possession. See what Lone Peak does differently against Hawkins. Follow-away jumper from Brooks. No, Hawkins gets the board, goes back up with it, and Porter Hawkins now has 22 points. I think he's telling his teammates, you're not going to feed me, I'm just going to board it and I'll put it back. Down the floor, Papula. Pull-up Jay goes in, out, and back down once again. The stat of the first half. Down the floor, Sanchez and the Grizzlies. In the corner, Charlie Olsen. Olsen, that ball slapped away by Heaton. No, out of bounds off of Olsen. And we go back to Lone Peak. 7 3-pointers in the first half for the Knights. 4 of them from Frank Jackson. Outside, Dolman give it up to Papula. Papula put it on the floor. Hard to the rack, goes up, and it crawls in. Hawkins was right there, did exactly what he needed to do, and Papula got it to roll in. And it's now a 25-point lead for the Knights. Stockton Shorts into the corner, Olsen. Drop it in, Hawkins goes up strong, can't get the bucket. Gets his own board against his own teammate. Goes over the top of Heaton. Coach wants a foul, didn't get it. Coach Blanchard beside himself. Getting warned from the officials, he walks up the floor. And Hawkins with another bucket. Curtis gives it up, Papula. Up top, Heaton. Hands off to Jackson, Bailey Brooks with him. Jackson splits through, and we have a foul on the floor. First team foul against Copper Hills. Jackson inbounds into Curtis. Curtis gives up top to Papula. Papula steps inside the arc. Jumper from the free throw line, and Christian Papula once again knocks down a jumper. That is his third. That's his 6th point in the third quarter. 56-31 Lone Peak. Hoffman kicks out to Sanchez. Sanchez in the corner to Charlie Olsen. Olsen tries to drop it in. Stockton Shorts picked off by Dolman. Dolman on the run. Chased down from behind by Charlie Olsen out in the hands of Sanchez. Sanchez going to take it himself. Wave off the bucket call. A foul on the floor. And it'll be inbound along the baseline for Copper Hills. 5:56 remaining in the third quarter. Hoffman inbounds to Olsen for 3. Off the mark, tipped out. And it'll be off of Hawkins, and we'll go the other way with Lone Peak. Interesting to note, the Porter Hawkins has 24 points on 12 field goals. No plus ones, just straight field goals. As Jackson goes end to end and puts it in, and Jackson now enters the 20-point range with that bucket. He has 21. Sanchez for 3, and Preston Sanchez knocks down the 3 ball. Copper Hills takes a timeout with 5:34 remaining in the third. Lone Peak 58, Copper Hills 34. 58-34 Lone Peak lead, and they can look to extend it here. Up the floor with Doman. Now Papula kicks out to Frank Jackson. Guarded by Hoffman. Jackson off the screen of Heaton, pulls for 3. Hit Frank Jackson. with a hand in his face, 2 players there, buries the triple. 5 points in the quarter for Jackson, 24 on the night. Ties Porter Hawkins for the game lead. And a foul on Papula, his first. 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Hoffman terminates, kicks over to Sanchez, outside to Olsen. Olsen drive the lane, floated up and good. Nice take and finish by Charlie Olsen's now got 5 points. His first point since the first quarter. 61-36, Lone Peak. Up the floor once again with Frank Jackson. Jackson down the lane, off the window, count the bucket, he's fouled. Getting where it's actually over 500. Crack statistician Thompson Cole sitting next to us. Preston Sanchez can't get that one to go. Back down the floor, Papula hands back to Heaton. Lone Peak always draws. They draw really well for good reason right here, number 15, Frank Jackson. Jackson down the baseline with the left hand and finish.
Frank Jackson.
So smooth as he makes his way through the lane. He's now got 29. Hoffman drop it inside to Hawkins, who's got 26.
Hawkins with an assist from Hoffman.
Down the floor with Jackson, leaves it back to Curtis. Curtis thought about 3, hangs on, Stockton shorts with him. Cross court to Papula. Papula working on Sanchez. And now Heaton. Heaton in the lane, slapped away by Charlie Olsen. Olsen will go down the floor, laid up and in. Olsen now with 7 points. Should mention only 2 seniors on the floor for Copper Hills. There'll be a senior-laden team next year. Andrew Gray and Bailey Brooks. We haven't seen Gray tonight. Brooks number 3. Out to Papula for 3. Papula off the front of the iron. Rebound taken by Stockton Shorts, a sophomore. Quickly down the floor. Stockton making his moves. Dishes off to Sanchez. And Preston Sanchez now has 7 points. Nice find from Stock. As Frank Jackson has that one stripped, will stay here.
Nice ball.
Inbound into Bruni. Bruni holding. Didn't move that pivot foot, he stayed with it. Here's Curtis, kicks back to Papula. Papula hard to the rack, lost the handle. Bruni with it. Bruni swatted away by Hawkins, but out of bounds off of Copper Hills as Charlie Olsen couldn't corral it. And will stay here with the Knights. 13th foul on the Grizzlies. 2.5 remaining in the third quarter. Jackson gives it up to Bruni, kicks out to Doman for 3, and no good. And now we got a foul on the rebound, and I believe that'll be against
We get a nice foul.
Christian Papula.
Christian Papula. Jackson in the line.
Jackson will take a seat with 2:20 remaining. They want to pick up that 4th foul. And down the floor as Thomas Gunther comes in for Jackson. 1-3-1 coming from Lone Peak. Once again, that is prime time for Hawkins, but Stockton Shorts now gets on the board. Out of bounds off of Charlie Olsen. Game 6 of 8 here on day 1 of the 5A state tournament. Winner will take on Viewmont. Right now, Lone Peak leading by 22. Drop it in to Curtis. Curtis with the left hand, can't get it to go. Rebound, Bruni. Bruni goes up, can't get it. And now Hawkins comes away with it. Get put in the hands of Hoffman. Hoffman down the lane, kick it out. Sanchez, and you get Hoffman with the charge. Doman was sitting waiting for him and picked up the charge, and they'll go the other way. Down the floor with the Knights. Leading by 22, 1:25 remaining in the third quarter. Up top, Bruni. Kick out to Papula. Papula straight away. Curtis for 3. Nick Curtis has his 3rd triple of the game.
Curtis for 3.
His last 2 buckets are 3s. 20 points for Nick Curtis. Hoffman, cross court to Olsen. Back to Hoffman. Hoffman fouled by Papula. Number 3 on Papula. And I'll bring Frampton off the bench. Shorts inbounds into Hawkins, gets it back over to Olsen. Olsen pulls for 3, off the mark, and Bruni with a foul on the board, and that's the 15th foul on Lone Peak. Quick inbound in to Stockton. Shorts, can't finish. Out of bounds off of Lone Peak, and we'll stay here with Copper Hills. Hoffman inbounds into Sanchez. 45 seconds remaining in the third quarter and a 25-point lead for the Knights. Sanchez barrels his way down the lane and a charge. The second draw and charge for Tyson Doman. Gunther working on Sanchez. Now 30 seconds remaining in the quarter. Kick out to Doman. Doman out to Frampton, 20 seconds. Frampton drive the lane, throws up a crazy shot off the glass, got a foul on the floor. That's the 16th foul on Copper Hills, which means we'll be bonus free throws the entire fourth quarter. Inbound to Gunther for 3, back rim. Rebound Frampton, out to Doman, straight away, off the mark. And rebound cleared by Hawkins, now lost the handle, and the foul on Talmadge Gunther. And that is the 16th foul on Lone Peak. So it'll be bonus free throws the entire fourth quarter for Copper Hills as well. 9 seconds as Sanchez brings up the floor, 5 seconds. Off the screen, Hoffman, Sanchez 4-3, and Preston Sanchez knocks down the 3 as time runs out in the third quarter. And at the end of 3, it's Lone Peak 69, Copper Hills 47 as we enter the fourth quarter. Start of the fourth quarter, and we start with Lone Peak. Here's Curtis. Drop it in to Frank Jackson. Hoffman with him. Jackson backs out. Nice crossover, steps into a long range 2 and 1. The foul on Trevor Hoffman. It'll be a +1 for Frank Jackson.
Again called on number 2, Trevor Hoffman.
There's Jackson at the line for the +1 and hits. Jackson out with 32 points on the night. Up the floor now with the Grizzlies. Bailey Brooks bangs home a little jumper. Got 4 points now. Up the floor with Jackson. Jackson straight away off the mark. Rebound cleared by Stockton Shorts. Shorts ahead to Bailey Brooks. Hard to the hole. Brooks leaves it too strong off the glass. Doman ahead to Papula. Papula puts his head down off the window. Left hand no. Gets his own board. Puts it back up and in. Papula now with 8 second half points. Kick out, Stockton Shorts pulls for 3, and Stockton Shorts hits the 3. Timeout, Coach Blanchard. 6:56 remaining. It's a full timeout. We'll take it with them. Lone Peak 74, Copper Hills 52. Out of the timeout, full court pressure from Copper Hills. Doman races into the front court. Down the lane, give it up to Heaton. Heaton reverses and scores. Everything going that way for Lone Peak, and it seems to happen every year in the state tournament. Things just get going for Coach Quincy Lewis. And again, Preston Sanchez from downtown, his 3rd. Sanchez now with 10, or pardon me, 13. Trap comes, give it up to Doman. Stockton Shorts is right there, crossover to Heaton for 3. And Dylan Heaton from downtown is 2nd. 79-55, the route is on. Drop it inside, Hawkins. And Hawkins, the lone bright spot tonight. 28 points for Hawkins. 79-57. Up the floor, Papula knocked out of bounds by Sanchez. 79-57. Drop in to Curtis. Reverses sides and scores. And Curtis continues his outstanding performance tonight. 22 points. Sanchez, hard to the hole, off the window. And will go to the line to shoot 2 free throws. And now 15 points for Sanchez. Papula gets that in to Curtis. Full court pressure still on. Papula going to break it on the dribble. Papula to Doman for three. Off the mark. Rebound taken by Curtis. Curtis power dribble. Back up and one. The foul will go on Stockton Shorts. It'll be a +1 for Nick Curtis. Curtis finishes off the bump and bucket with the +1. 24 points. Pardon me, 25. Sanchez, fall away Jay. Doesn't go, but he'll go to the line to shoot 2 more free throws.
Sanchez back to the free throw line for the Grizzlies.
5:24 remaining in the fourth quarter, and I got a feeling it'll be a very long 5:24. And back rims the second. Papula has that ball slapped away quickly ahead to Sanchez. Sanchez off the glass and good. It's taken finish by Preston Sanchez. 18 points on the evening. And now the foul, his 4th personal. And the second. 86-62, Lone Peak. Into the corner, Charlie Olsen pulls for three, and Olsen buries the three, his second. Puts him in double figures. Frank Jackson works the baseline. Oh, wouldn't go. Tipped up by Shorts, taken by Brooks. Brooks on the push. Brooks, wow, he took off a long ways out. Hawkins tried tipping out and does. Jackson took a shot. Papula, a little showtime. Goes up and flushes with one hand. Out of the timeout, Frank Jackson back on the floor. Three from Sanchez off the mark. Jackson goes up and claims the board. And Jackson will walk it up in the front court. 32 points for Frank Jackson. Doman kicks out Heaton, looking for another three. Heaton knocks down his 3rd three of the ball game. Heaton and Curtis doing damage from distance. Brooks can't get it to go. Papula goes up tall and pulls that down. Jackson couldn't get that one to go. Tracked down by Charlie Olsen. Lone Peak threatening to hit the 100-point barrier. Jackson on the steal. Tracked down by Stockton Shorts. And it'll be Lone Peak ball on the baseline. And it looks like Jackson will be done for the night. And crawls in.
Curtis.
Nick Curtis continues to have an outstanding night. And there's a steal going the other way with Doman. Doman yet to get on the board, and that ball leaks out. Starter's done for the night. Doman missed the first, has one more, and rolls in his first points of the ball game. Down the floor now with Sanchez. High post, ball slapped around, and now cleared by Talmadge Gunther. Gunther races into the front court. Terminates. Now drops it in. Kick back out. Gunther. Pirouette toward the lane. And Gunther is fouled and go to the line to shoot 2. And we'll go deep into the Lone Peak roster. If you want to see the future of Lone Peak, we're going to see it right now. Head of Preston Sanchez leaves along the baseline to Helmer. Shot on the way, no, from Olsen. And the rebound claimed by Garrett Frampton. Frampton ahead to Chantry Ross. Long-range jumper from Harkness wouldn't go. Rebound now taken on the run by Bailey Brooks. Brooks give it up to Sanchez. Sanchez with the left hand and scores. Sanchez now with 20. As we mentioned, Lone Peak threatening the 100-point barrier. 96 points, 135 remaining in the fourth quarter. Bruni. Hands off, now kick back. There'll be 2 free throws coming the way of Chad Pollard. First free throw good, and has one more. Pollard can't get that one. And the rebound cleared out by Michael Miller. On the push now. This is Andrew Gray being hounded by Frampton. Kicks out to Chantelane. 3 on the way from the corner off the mark, and rebound claimed by Chantelane. Into the corner, 3 on the way from Miller, and it stays down.
Miller for 3.
On the push, quickly ahead, looking for 3. Got blocked. Nice block by Helmer. Now up top with Ross. Chancey Ross, crossover, kick out. And now nearly a steal. 3 from Pollard off the mark. Rebound cleared by number 24, Jared Tanner. Everybody wanted to see the 100 points. Here's 40. 40 seconds remaining. And now Andrew Gray is fouled. He'll go to the line for 1-1. The second off the front of the iron, and the rebound claimed by Max Brenchley. Sitting on 97. On the angle with Chase Pollard. Brinkerhoff hands off to Brenchley. Brenchley kicks back to Ashworth. Ashworth terminate. Now baseline J, 99 points. Brinkerhoff. So sitting on 99. Oh, Gray bakes in the triple. So you got a chance if they're going to put up a shot anyway, and I don't think they're going to. 2 seconds. Coach Lou said no way, and that'll do it. Lone Peak 99, Copper Hills 74. As we mentioned, everybody wanted to know what Lone Peak was going to do after dropping their last 2 games of the regular season. Well, they came out and showed. They're a team on a mission, looking for 5 straight. Lone Peak 99, Copper Hills 74. Congratulations to Coach Lewis moving on to the second round. They will play Viewmont on Wednesday. Copper Hills, a very good season, a tough way to end it, but a lot of talent coming back next season for Copper Hills. Again, our final score, Lone Peak 99, Copper Hills 74. Stay tuned for our post-game wrap-up and our Nudge Player of the Game selection.